Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Today I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health stress for May 2nd, 2026. We do keep additional graphics available at tpatw.com. We also maintain a storefront on patient weather. Looking at the surface map for Saturday, we can see that high pressure actually dominates almost all of the country. There is a little bit of a low here hanging about central California and Nevada. Another little low, bubble low up here in the Dakotas, but the most interesting low is this low along the eastern seaboard that does have its cool front hanging down the Atlantic, but cutting back in through central Florida, and with a little bit of a developing low there, lots of instability, lots of showers and thunder showers across Florida. Looking at our vitality index, which is a measure of all of those elements that might have some impact on human health, we see that we have a little bit of activity going on here with that low in Nevada. We have another area of activity in the northern plains and something happening here in the Texas Panhandle and along the Gulf. Looking at the change in atmospheric pressure, we have rising pressure here through southern Texas, across southern Louisiana, and then eastward along the Gulf Coast all the way to Alabama. We have falling pressure up here in the Dakotas and Minnesota, and we still do have that little bit of a bubble low along the eastern seaboard that we'll talk about tomorrow. Looking at the changes in temperature, temperatures are relatively cool across the much of the east and south, but note that we have significant warming trying to push from Texas clear on up the plains, especially here in the high plains, and that usually has some type of impact as temperatures, as they go and jump by 10 degrees, that tends to increase the risk of migraine. Looking at dew point temperatures, and they'll get more and more interesting as the summer progresses, but we do have falling dew point temperatures here along the Gulf, and that's because it's post-frontal. We have some rising dew points here up in the northern plains, and you can see rising dew point temperatures here along that low along the eastern coast. But note, the frontal system itself that's draping across Florida has highly increasing dew point temperatures, and that will be the source for the showers, the thunder showers, and even the risk of migraine. On the good side, instability will be falling significantly, but lingering just here about San Antone, and notice it tries to make its way across central Florida. Looking at the change in oxygen availability, we'll have a risk of migraine here along western California, up and down the coast, just a touch here along the northern Canadian border areas of Montana. The most significant migraine risk will be here, southern Texas, and very shallow along the Gulf across probably New Orleans, picking up Mobile, and then the northern half of Florida, and then picking up significantly here in Georgia, across eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, almost all of the Carolinas, up through Virginia, West Virginia, picking up into Pennsylvania and up into upstate New York. Note that we'll have a risk of asthma and arthritis here from the Dallas and northern areas of Texas up through the Panhandle, significant across eastern New Mexico, and then up the plains, especially Nebraska and the Dakotas into Minnesota. Thanks for visiting Patient and the Weather. Your comments are appreciated, and if you hurt